Space Jam.
Let's play some basketball.
It's 50 years old this year, celebrating a birthday.
Yeah, that's all, folks.
Hey, Mr. Boone here. Glad you clicked on this. Maybe you're into cartoons, or perhaps you're just here for some background noise as you eat lunch. Either way, welcome. I want to talk about something that used to be a huge part of my life and many other people's lives growing up. It shaped comedy for years, and somehow it's kind of just fading away, no thanks to David Zaslav, and WB's greedy mismanagement of the Looney Tunes. With the popularity of shows like Smiling Friends and its clear influence being the slapstick fun of Looney Tunes, it's genuinely hard to believe that when Looney Tunes is talked about today, it's sadly not for the right reasons. I mean, really think about it. When I say the words Looney Tunes, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most people in my age range, it's probably this. Or if you're younger, you might think of this. Or this. Or maybe any number of these. Or like a majority of the people online these days, you probably think of the inner turmoil at WB related to them, and how they nearly scrapped 2 animated films, The Day the Earth Blew Up and Coyote Vs Acme, which I'll get to in a second. It really doesn't matter if you're thinking of the numerous live-action hybrid films, or the early 2000s fever dream that was Lunatics Unleashed. There's one thing that binds all of these properties together, at least for the higher-ups at WB Discovery.
You've got to have money.
Just look at Space Jam, which released in the 90s. The film was made on a budget of $80 million and raked in $250.2 million worldwide. It was considered a commercial success, becoming the highest-grossing basketball film at the time and the 15th highest-grossing film of 1996. The movie exemplified how Warner Brothers began leveraging the Looney Tunes brand primarily as a money-making machine, rather than nurturing it as a cultural cornerstone, as it once was.
Zaslav, don't turn me into marketable plushies.
While perhaps not the cultural pillar that Disney was at the time, the Looney Tunes franchise, originally created by Leon Schlesinger and animators Hugh Harman and Rudolph Ising in the 1930s, had once been a creative powerhouse, known for its musical shorts that promoted Warner Bros. Music catalog. But despite that early legacy and its appeal to both kids and adults,
Looney Tunes creators were always very adamant that they were making cartoons for a general audience, an adult audience, and kids happened to like them, but they were not, at that time they were not
worried about
make things directly for kids.
the studio gradually let its artistic and cultural relevance slip, opting instead to treat the franchise as a marketable asset and less like a creative endeavor. Which is why for most of you, you've probably only been exposed to the Looney Tunes at Six Flags. While of course there are still the odd show here or there that are often buried by Warner Brothers, like the recent Looniversity show that they basically finished and told nobody about. And that's what brings us to this video, and what I'm going to be talking about. So get your worst looking Wile E. Coyote costume and prepare to riot for Looney Tunes, because this is why Coyote vs. Acme needs your help. Just a quick reminder, if you like my content, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to go the extra mile, drop a comment to boost the video on the algorithm. Not just for my channel's success, but also for more people to get motivated to promote this film, since Warner Brothers won't. Alright, so just how did Looney Tunes go from culturally relevant mainstay of Warner Bros. To being treated like box office poison? Unless it's desperately trying to recapture the hype it had with Space Jam, which arguably was also a bit of a soulless film outside of some standout visuals. Well, sadly over the years, WB has become more motivated by profits than originality and creativity. With David Zaslav in control, he likely saw the failures like Warner Bros. Studio Store.
The store is going to play a very big part in the success of Trump Plaza. So we're really happy with it. It's going to be a tremendous success.
And various other flops as a justification to nuke the franchise out of existence. They even recently dumped the classic shorts collection on HBO because they've gone on record saying that adult and family programming is more profitable to them in the long run. Which brings us to today, and Ketchup Entertainment. a relatively new indie film distribution company. They're not held down by the weight of studio execs like David Zaslav, and for the past decade they've pulled off small miracles releasing films that other studios would have left in a vault. Take the recent mediocre Hellboy reboot. Might not be anywhere near as good as the Del Toro originals, but the fact it was released at all, that's something. And you gotta commend them for bringing that back to life. Hell, for as cringe as the Batgirl film might have been, I would pay good money to see Brendan Fraser as Firefly.
There'll be nothing but a charred stone when I'm finished with you, Batman.
Hell, up until recently, both Coyote Vs Acme and The Day the Earth Blew Up were clearly on the chopping block at Warner Brothers. There was virtually no promotion. These films were saved by word of mouth, and as they were about to be shelved forever, Ketchup Entertainment swooped in and rescued them from the jaws of oblivion. But here's the thing. Just because they were saved, and every YouTuber under the sun is making posts about it being saved, doesn't mean the work is done. I mean, hell, for as much as everybody gassed up Coyote Vs Acme, just about none of them showed up for The Day the Earth Blew Up, which is a goddamn shame because the movie itself is great. And as a fully animated film, I feel like that one should have done better, especially if you love traditional 2D animation. And even while The Day the Earth Blew Up's mild success was encouraging for Ketchup Entertainment and anyone who was invested, it only made back 77% of its budget. It earned just $11 million worldwide. And while Ketchup Entertainment may have profited from the distribution, Warner Bros., the studio that produced it, likely still sees it as a net loss, especially with David Zaslav pulling the strings. This is why Coyote vs. Acme absolutely needs to do well, and not just have people talking about it online. Just like my previous video on The Day the Earth Blew Up, this is a call to action for all animation fans. Don't just talk about the film, go and see it. Get your friends, your family, anyone you can. It's simply not enough for the film to do just okay for Ketchup Entertainment. We need that bastard David Zaslav to see that Looney Tunes is absolutely worth keeping alive. I mean, from the sound of things, the new film is shaping up to be a genuinely great experience for adults and kids alike. With James Gunn behind the writing, it's looking like an absolute banger, something that taps into the sharper, more satirical energy that made the original cartoons legendary. If The Day the Earth Blew Up is any indication, we could expect this next film to be even more bold, more relevant, and even more hilarious. And knowing James Gunn's writing on the Scooby-Doo films, most likely something that would be very fitting on Adult Swim. This franchise has always held up a chaotic, hilarious mirror to society. It's smart, it's unhinged, and it's absolutely timeless. At its best, Looney Tunes isn't just for kids, it's for everyone, and everyone should go see it. One of the first few animated series that understood how truly universal blending solid slapstick with satire, absurdity with truth could work for just about anybody, and led the way for great shows like Smiling Friends, my channel's bread and butter, so I'm eternally grateful to it. That's why I'm begging you, yes, begging, to support Coyote vs. Acme. See it in theaters, post about it, grab the DVD, rent it digitally, however you can, just watch it. The same goes for The Day the Earth Blew Up, because this film and the previous animated film deserve to succeed, not just in theaters, but in hearts. Let's make it loud and clear, guys. Zaslav and anyone else who's ready to bury this legendary animated franchise, we're not letting Looney Tunes die, not on our watch. Thanks again for watching, guys, and if you got to the end of the video, be sure to leave a like and a comment. It really means the world to me when my videos are slowly getting less and less views, thanks to the algorithm. As long as you guys keep showing up in the comments, I'll be continuing to make videos indefinitely.